I am now uploading many bits. 2,665,000 bits per second. Hello, this is the start of stream number whatever. No longer keeping track. And last stream I was working on doing some integration of Lua automation scripts into my parser, and I'm going to continue doing that. So I got scripts attached to formats and the components that they build, and in the user interface I got it so that if you click on one of these, if you select a data component, it actually will execute the script if there's one attached. So right now I just have it printing something, and eventually I wanted to send a message back into the host to tell it to do something about showing detail about what we've clicked, but that's commented out because I haven't gotten there yet. The script has access to a host. That's Lua host. And I believe the only thing that it can do right now is call on data on it, which is what I'm doing in I think it was in the plugin view Lua. I had that in there. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was, there's a Lua script here, right. I had it so that when we open and close the data file, we get the name, and if it's opened, we also get the parsed data out and we print something about it. So that's what we actually get right now. So I'm gonna keep adding more to this integration, trying to get to where we can do stuff like showing an image viewer as detail for clicking on an image. So for example, if I click down into here, I find that image data and I click on it. Right now it's selecting where it is in the hex dump, and it's executing a script in Lua which isn't doing much other than saying hello world. And what I would like it to do, let's see if I can show this side by side. New tab, go to plugin, examples, Lua, view.lua. So I would like window manager is fighting me. So I'd like this image viewer sort of to be integrated into the main app, kind of like right somewhere like there, where you click on the image data and it'll pop it up in a panel underneath. So to do that, I need all the information that this standalone image viewer gets right now, and I need to be able to tell the UI to make an instance of that and to shove it into the main UI area. So a bunch of stuff I have to do. So just to review what that plugin does. So this image is going to be, well, basically this image data is what you will have clicked on right here. So we'll have access to that directly, but we do need to go up one level in the hierarchy and down into the image descriptor and get the width and the height. So either we need to start here and be able to go up to the graphic rendering block and then down into the image descriptor, or, which might be better, is to have image data be given the image descriptor as an argument, and that argument end up getting used by the script, and not by the actual format. So if I like add descriptor here, image descriptor, I think this will not work unless I do this. So that should work, and it shouldn't change how I it shouldn't change anything here. So like we get no warnings or anything like that, and you won't see it under image data, but it should be available as an argument to the script, I think. But I need to double check that. One way to make sure it is if we do a keep on it. Now it should pop up here. Yeah, so image data has an image descriptor in it. So clicking on that, if you imagine this entire node is given to the script, it has access to the width and the height, right? That's only because I told it to keep the image descriptor as a node in the output. If I don't do that, maybe... Oops. I hit a key that I wasn't expecting. There, fixed it. Yeah, if I don't keep it, I don't know if it'll be accessible to the script. So either I have to keep it around, or alternatively, like I'm wondering maybe I can update the syntax of here, pass in arguments somehow. Yeah, I'm not sure what syntax would look like. So yeah, for now we're gonna keep that out. Oop. What am I doing that is ending up hiding the window? Oh, I'm hitting Command D. Which is being interpreted in a weird way by the windowing system. Okay, that's annoying. Well, I fixed that. Next, match. So it's super D. So it's supposed to do that so I can just hit space there. But that super D is actually bringing up this panel or something. Oh, see if I can figure this out. So my shortcuts. Super plus D. This says it's Control Super D, but I don't believe it. If I hit Control Super D, seems to do the same thing as if I just hit Super D. If I just disable this one right now. Backspace. Now, okay, so that fixed it. Cool. So now I should be able to click that, hit Super D. There. Okay. Weird that Control Super D isn't interpreted as Super D. Okay. Yeah, so I think one thing I'd like to do to start off with is right now when I click on it, it actually prints out this this hello world thing. It's printing that to standard output, and it's not showing up in the actual UI. So I think I'd like to actually show up in the UI. And I think I'd like to have it show up the same way that these other messages show up here. This is what I call the log, and there are different levels, so like info, warning, and error. I think I want to start by doing that. So if I do host, let's say info, I click on one of these guys. Right, I get an error saying that method info is a nil value, which, yeah, it's of course nil. So let's make it not nil. I think I would just do it like this, right? I don't even think it needs to be mutable, it's just info. And we'll just make it message. And we'll do info. It's gonna tell me that the type is ambiguous, right? Oh. Need to import info. Okay, now the type is ambiguous, right? Yeah, type annotation is needed. So I'll just do it like this. I don't remember if that needs to be a tuple or not. Yeah, we don't need access. We don't actually need access to the host to do that one. So that should work now. It should show up in the log window. I need to add warn and error, and I want to see if I can do away with that tuple and just make it a string. Now if I click on an image data, prints that. Cool. Can I get rid of the tuple part and just make it a string? I don't know because that might not be supported. I guess it is. So I do have to have a type because if I don't, it's going to say it doesn't know what the type should be. Type annotation is needed, right? Wait, so this didn't need to be a tuple either then. Huh. Good to know. So make one for warnings. And then another for errors. Oh, well, that goes. Yeah, let's move that over to this workspace over there. We're going to have a test. We're going to do a warning and an error. This is an info message from Lua. Warning and error. Okay. Cool. Info warn error. Nice. I was just thinking, I wonder if we could get the span information, like where that message is coming from. It's something to look into later. Wait, I just noticed something. Do I still have top symlinks? No, so why did it find it? Huh. Must be because it's a recent? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, anyway. Well, I don't know what the shortcut is to go to the end of the file. um, Right. Investigate retrieving script span information when logging messages through the Lua host. All right. Look into that later. So far, so good. So then, what am I doing next? I think what I want to do next is actually, when this onData callback is called, which is right here. Right now, I think we're passing the data file and the data in, but we're actually not using it in the Lua script. I wanted to get access to that. Wait, no, I do have access to that, right? I do. Never mind. That's not what I wanted. It's when you click on something, right? Yeah. So that's have a bookmark for that right here. Yeah, so we're calling load and exec versus call. Right. So I wanted to turn that exec into a call, I think. And pass the same kind of information, so this thing. Toggle bookmark. Bookmark. Control Alt K. So Control. There we go. Control Alt is actually showing me the types and stuff, the inlay hints. Control Alt K is the toggle for the bookmark thing. Okay. Doing that on purpose because I want to get back between this and this. So I do want that code. Okay, and then over here. So yeah. Something like that. Okay, so the data is not an option, so I don't have a map. So it's this inner part that I want. Expected reference found a ref cell. Oh. I think I need to get a reference before I borrow into it, so data ref. I want an original. That's a borrow of an existing reference. I think that's fine. Nope, it's not fine. I need to clone it. It needs to own that reference. Now it's an owned reference to the component. Okay, and then so it's this hint here. I want to use mlua into Lua. as underscore. Okay, and then I think it's going to be like that in these type annotations, and it's the same thing as in the other place. I basically need to say what I expect for the turn value, in which case, in this case, it's nothing. So using the turbo fish, we're saying that we're providing the type of the return value, which is empty. Okay, so now it's going to call that block and pass it arguments. So not using those arguments yet, and I read up about this between streams, and if you just pass it a block that's not a function, it will the arguments are in the dot dot dot, so we can recover that, and maybe that's what we'll test first. So changing our script. Yeah, let's make one info message, and we'll say I don't know what I want to print about it. You clicked on or that it, let's say something about it. What do we know about the image? We can return the number of bits in it. Is that interesting? Not really. We can say how many I/O nodes it has. That's what we can do. So that's LZW stream I/O. Okay, so then number nodes. So that would be data LZW stream I/O. Length, or is it len? I think, but we have to recover that data. So that I think the way you do that is you say this has to match. Just to match what I put in here. Okay, so it's just one argument, right? So yeah, then that's easy. It would just be data equals dot dot dot. And Lua statements don't need to have semicolons, right? Okay, click. Syntax error near equal. I guess that's the syntax error. Is it local? I can't remember. Maybe I'll have to look it up. Looking it up. I believe where I found this was the Lua manual. Where was it exactly? It was in like calling a block. So call. Lua call? Ah. Or was it load? It was load. Because you get a chunk and it says when you call that chunk, I forget where exactly I was reading this. Lua load? Okay. go back to search engine. So how to collect values from Lua ... Lua var args, I think it's called, right? That's to collect it as a table, but I thought there was a way you could collect it into a tuple. But maybe, I think maybe I do need to have that local. That might be what's wrong. Oh, wait. No. I think I can just do that. I think that's all I needed to do, actually. Okay, cool. So it just doesn't, there's no, so len is not, that's because that's not the right language. Length in Lua is like the @ sign or something. No, is it? It's one of these. I think it's the pound sign. Attempt to get length of a data component value. Okay, so I don't have that implemented. I need to, I don't remember what I have implemented there. So component, data component, there it is. What methods do I have? Performance value, part, and then I have index and toString. I guess I just don't have it. So yeah, I want to implement length. So that's probably a meta method, right? Which meta method is it? Length? Yep. There we go. The length operator. Cool. So then the argument would be nothing, right? I won't care about the arguments. And we are getting, we don't care about the arguments. It would just be this dot 0 dot. Hey there, A squared. You're the first chatter. And I have started streaming 28 minutes ago. You have broken 28-minute long period of silence from chat. But thank you for chatting, because now we can actually see that the chat works. I'm just thinking, like, this is going to be the component, right? Whoops. So that's because I'm hitting Control End does weird things. Okay, how do I actually get to the end of the line without doing weird things to my window? Okay, don't hit that one. That goes to the windowing system. Okay, so it's just end and beginning. Okay. So that gives me a reference to the component. I guess I'll look and see how the length built-in it works. So that's in context, right? Here somewhere. Nope, not here. Statement? It might be in statement. That's right. Okay. There. Control N is normally end of file. Yeah. I'm on this new VM. which is the latest Ubuntu 24, and like it's got different window manager keyboard shortcuts than I'm used to in Mac OS, and that's just really throwing me off. I don't remember where my built-ins are. I guess it's under ingest composite. Here it is. So it is in context. Or not? Anyway, let's find just as lane. Oh, it's in component RS. Okay, how am I going to remember that? I don't know how I'm going to remember that. Hey there, Nightlight. And Mitchosen, how are you doing? What's the state of the parser? I'm trying to get Lua stuff integrated into it. So I finished the work I was doing a couple weeks where I have this nice image viewer now, and it's got like all the bells and whistles that I want to have, right? I can zoom, I can pan in the zoom thing, the rulers are all working. I'm trying to get that back integrated back into the main UI, which is here, kind of like as a little detail panel. You can imagine it fitting in somewhere like that. So this is all done, and I'm trying to reintegrate it back into the main UI. And that's as far as I've gotten. I've also added a few more formats, and I think the next one I want to work on, which I could do tonight, is I think the parsing language should be able to parse itself. The meta challenge. Been enjoying my streams? Oh, okay, nice. So yeah, to make it so that when you click on something that it has a side effect of doing something in the user interface, I've chosen to do that in the Lua scripting language so that all the control about what happens when you click on things will be kind of integrated in one place, like the single source of truth, which is the actual format for GIF here. So like I added this syntax in the last couple streams where this special set of delimiters, everything inside is actually in Lua and as opposed to my parsing language. So this all gets kind of carried along with any image data, and then when you click on it, it sees that, hey, there's a script associated with it, so we should run that. It's actually done right here. So not right there, right here. If the data has some script and we have a Lua context and we're able to, well, then we try to load it and then call it as a function which takes what you clicked on as an argument, and then it'll actually handle it. This last part of the if is if you get an error from that, it actually prints it out. But hopefully you don't get errors. So yeah, doing a bunch of Lua Rust integration here. So what I'm working on right at the moment is I wanted to print out the length, and it took me a while to remember that the length operator in Lua is the £. So the length of the I/O, because I wanted to print out something about the what you clicked on, and the only thing I can think of is like, well, if you go down into the stream, there's the number of nodes, right? So I'm trying to get that number printed out here. Never thought of doing something like that? Okay. Saw my keyboard build log from a while ago. It's a cool project. I'm still using the keyboard. I have 2 of them now. I had enough parts to build a second one, so I use it all the time. Someone on the Discord was asking, it's actually Adam's Discord, was asking me if I still use it. I'm like, yeah, I use it every day. And that's great that I inspired you to do something similar. This keyboard, I think, made me believe that if anyone ever comes to me looking for like a starter project for a beginner in hardware, software, and doing something that's integrating both, I'd say make your own keyboard, because the hardware really wasn't that big a deal, and the software, there's lots of ways you can make your own software. You don't even have to make it if you don't want to. You can just use I forget the name of it, but there's like an open source keyboard firmware out there, right? Love showing people your split. Yeah, I love it too. QMK, that's it. So you don't even have to do this software. If you just want to make your own keyboard hardware, just pick a CPU that is supported on QMK and Just download that. You don't have to. You just do the hardware only if you want. Similarly, if you only want to do the software, you can pick up any kind of open source keyboard hardware out there and either build it yourself or have it built and then just do the firmware. Or you can be crazy and, like me, and do both. Okay, so I'm trying to implement this length, and I didn't want to write it from scratch, so I was looking to see how it's done in component. This one. So I don't think this can be leveraged, can it? Actually, it is a public function, but it's ingesting. Well, wait a minute. It's not really ingesting, is it? It's ingesting the arguments, right? Wait, what? This component. Yeah, this is the output tree. So how does this work again? Oh, it assigns self-value. That's why it's got a mutable reference to it. Yeah, so we don't want that, right? Right, this is taking the argument and computing its length. So really it's this I want to reuse, right? Well, this whole thing. Actually, you know what I should do is the self-value should be pulled out and the inside of it should be put somewhere that's reusable. So why don't we do that? So this whole thing moves out. Actually, why don't we just compute it first? And then set it. As U64 share. And so the as 64 shares go away. And so is the self-value equals part. So it's just this. So then I don't need to say length, do I? Just drop that part, hit save. Okay, now I can take this and extract it. So extract into a function. It didn't put the function in the right space and the argument's not correct, but I will fix that. So let's change it to be, why don't I just make it length? And really what I kind of want to do is have this thing just implement length. Right? So I think that's a common trait, right? Is there not a common trait for length? Rust. There's two different. Let's just open a new tab. Rust length trait. That has length. Iterator is the closest. There isn't? Doesn't that sound like something that there should be a trait for? Wait. I think it hallucinated that. I think the AI hallucinated that. That's a total hallucination, isn't it? It's the len trait in Rust is used to determine a method. Used to define a method that returns length of value. Like, it totally hallucinated that, didn't it? Or is it some kind of internal trait. Is it just totally making this up, a squared? Did you just hallucinate that there is actually a len trait in Rust? Let's see. Yes, I misspoke. There is no len trait in Rust. That Rust provides a method called len that is implemented for various collections. So it thanked me for pointing that out. Like it's going to learn from it. Definitely not a standard. Well, maybe. So I guess I will just have to take that function and put it into component and make it kind of work like length does in the standard library. How would I look that up? Probably by looking to see if I've called length anywhere. So it doesn't matter. I can go anywhere. Not under root though. Thought I had it set up so it wouldn't search under root, but I'll have to revisit that. As good as any. There we go. I'm just gonna grab the one from B-tree map. Doesn't matter where, right? And paste it here. Not there. I want to put it inside component. I want it to be near where I can see the other thing. So like this. Whoop. I lost what was in my clipboard. Copy. Paste. Right, and then I'm just gonna copy all this stuff. Why does it... Oh, it's possible to have an error? Okay, that is true. You might try to take the length of something which is undefined. It's funny how, look at that, it has a result with a result in it. We'll fix that. I'm just gonna take this and put it in there. Delete this. Okay, hit save. Result. String, I guess. And its argument is replaced by self, right? Well, this is self. Make this component. This becomes just one level of error. And actually, I think I do want it to be an explicit return. Oh, wait. This is, it's already borrowed, so then I don't need to do this. Self. Oh, wait. Wait, actually, no, it's not component, that's the value of the component, right? What's this error again? Not perform okay, it can't be constant anymore. All right. That's as close as we can get. Okay, then it's up here. So this, I could just do an early return. And we need to turn it around. It's argument dot length, right? And I don't need any of this stuff. attached to it. Don't need a match in front. So then why don't I just fold these together? All right, and then see if it works now. That guy. Convention is just to have a method length view size. Yeah, in this case, I'm breaking convention a little bit. So it's actually fallible because the length of a component only makes sense if it's a vector or in an iteration context. But this should work now, right? Got an image data, and it says attempt to get length of a data component value. Oh, wait. Did I not connect that to Lua? I thought it did. Hold on. Oh wait, no. I extracted it out so that I could reuse it, but I never did reuse it. I was gonna do it here. Why does this show a change? I don't know. It's not there either. It's here. Oh, not there. It's one of these. It's here. Yes. Right. I was just gonna do component length. Need to map it, right? Map the error. And gonna do this. Runtime error E, right? Because it's already a string. Having trouble seeing the indentation. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, what's the error? Mismatch types. Found a unit type. Oh yeah. Oh, semicolon. Okay. So I need to convert that length back to Lua. So that's into Lua. Map. Oh, that can turn into an error as it. So I can expect that one away, right? Because any U size should be convertible to Lua, right? So expect should be able to send a U size to Lua. All right, and what about this args? It doesn't know the type. Let's do that like I did in the other meta argument. And this is saying that it's redundant, so I can just do that. Nice. Flat map, which is called something else if it's effectively infallible, expect to make sense. Yeah, this should be infallible because this is a U size. Like I was thinking, like, are there any values of U size that would give me an error if I move it into Lua? I don't think so. I think all U64s are represented in Lua, right? Number types would be. It's weird. all of these. So it looks like there is a use. Is it fallible? Okay, I guess you could be out of range. But this is in the macro, right? So I guess I would want to see if it can't be held in a... It's interesting that it uses number and not integer. Oh, it tried to map it as an integer. This is impossible error because conversion to number never fails. Okay, so I guess it has to... They kept it here because into Lua has to return a result, but it's saying this is impossible, but then they left the code for it? I don't know. Yeah, there's an integer, so it looks like it tries integer first, and if it doesn't fit as an integer, it goes into number, which is floating point. They're saying that's impossible because it never fails to convert an integer type into a number. Yeah, I'm just gonna expect that it never fail, that it's infallible. And this is really mapping. I guess I could do it in maybe it's clearer if I do this. This is mapping the error that we might get from length. So I wanted to keep them close together, and then we're just mapping the length into Lua. Yeah, it is odd that they kept the code. I would have probably done like a map error unreachable or something. I don't know what I would have done. Maybe I would have expected it away too. But maybe because it's inside of a macro, they can't do that. Or there's some other reason not to. Okay, anyway. Should be able to get that length now. Match unreachable, maybe? There are funny rules when you're inside of a macro rules, right? So maybe trying to do that, they ran afoul of that. Cool. So we get the number of nodes out. That should match there, yep. Okay, getting closer. What do I want to do next? Could definitely do something as simple as panic in a macro. In fact, unreachable is just a macro that calls panic. Okay. Yeah, I don't know then. Then anymore. Okay, ultimately I want everything that's done here to be done inside of the format itself. Those are these things that... A warning in the code here? I do. Huh. Has a public length method, but no is empty method. Okay, so I guess I write my own. It would be like self.len is equal to 0. Well, map. Something like that, right? There we go. Now it's no longer complaining. And by the way, we should sort methods alphabetically. Yay. All right. I'm done with that for a while. So I'm wondering if there's any use in like being able to start from a node and have it go up to its parent. Because I could build that into the data structure, and that would make things pretty convenient. The idea is that we're here looking at an image data. That's what you clicked on, right? But we need to go up one and then down into image descriptor to get the width and the height. Also, we need to do that. We need to look and see, well, something has to figure out what the color table is. So we either need to look and see if there is a local color table, and if not, I think we're supposed to go to the previous image and seeing if there's one and all that. Although I need to consult the spec. But anyway, if there is no local color table, we're supposed to go up to the logical screen and go into the logical screen descriptor, I think, and see, is there a global color table? Yes. Then what is its size? And expect that many entries in global color table. And we get the RGB values out from that. Previously, you might have seen that I had this arranged differently. I had like 256 reds followed by 256 greens. I restructured it so it looks like this, and I think it looks a lot better because now you can navigate the data structure in order. You can even see like the entire color covers 3 bytes and what the individual components are. And that to do that is this very slight restructuring of what a color is. So it used to be that I had the red, green, blue directly in the color table, but by making a color format and putting red, green, blue there, that causes this color to be, there's 256 of those colors, and then those are the ones that are in vector context, so that you can reach into any one of those and see. And that makes the bytes are in order now, and whereas before they weren't because they were held as 3 separate vectors. Nearly always need to have a pointer to parent hierarchical structures. Yeah. So I have it for this data tree component, but I don't think I have it built into the actual structure, but I should look and see. That would be here anyway. We were just, not this one, but the component. This one. I don't think I have a parent. I do not. So each component holds onto its children through a reference. So I think we would want to have a weak reference back up if we did. So like I think it's just called weak, right? And you can get one from a RC by doing the weak method of an RC, or RC weak or something like that. So that's one way to do it. The other way would be, I guess, if you click on a particular data or image data like that, that maybe it would also give you the root of the composition and tell you the path to what you clicked on, but that seems more complicated to me than it's worth. I think I want to add the parent thing as a weak reference. So the idea would be we'd be able to get the width and height. Actually, I'm also not using these, but I should. The left and the top, because you're allowed to have the image be a subset of the logical screen width and height. I don't think I have a GIF that makes use of that, but it's possible. Actually, I need to find a GIF that does that. Think about it. Should I look and see like do I have one, right? Like maybe the Raimu one did. I don't remember. That was 100 by 100, and the rendering block here. Yeah, so it's not using it. Maybe the second one, though. Not using it. Okay, yeah, so I need an example where the image size is a subset of logical screen, and left and the top aren't 0. Maybe Raimu 2? I think these these two are the same because they're both made by TSJA. Yeah, so those two examples don't work. Yeah, I'll have to find one. Parser structure might be able to display the color nicer, like in hex form. That's a good idea. I mean, that's another thing to use the detail panel I'm going to be adding for. Like, you might click on the whole color table and it'll show it as if it was an image, 16 by 16 image, right? And then if you click an individual color in the detail, it would just show that color or something. Intermediate thing I could do is I could have the overall color be the hex color in like web format as a string. I don't know. Things to do. So yeah, let me try adding the. I think it's useful enough and shouldn't cost me much to have these weak up references. So I'm gonna do that, and the way I'll test it, I shouldn't have closed that so fast. The way I'll test it is when you click on image data, it should go up to its parent and then find the image descriptor and find the image width and height and just print those. Similar to how I'm already printing in the main script. This stuff, which I was printing down here. Right there. So actually, see that I'm holding super left, super begin end is doing that. I need to train myself not to hit that key combination because it means something else in Ubuntu. Okay, so then where am I going? Not into that one. These, I just move these closer together. I can, look at that. Okay. Down here. Oh, howdy, Mr. Sir. Thank you for the raid. Rust, Lua, Rust, Lua, Rust, yep. And in fact, there are 3 languages now because inside these quirky delimiters is Lua. Outside the delimiters is my Programmable Parser's format language. And then how this is all implemented under the hood is in Rust. And here's an integration between Rust and Lua. So this is a tri-language stream now. I hope you're doing well, Chris. Mr. Sir, I was lurking in your stream earlier. And for those of you who haven't seen my stream before, I do hobby projects in Rust these days. I used to do C++. And this big project I've been working on for years is a programmable parser. So this is an example of it parsing an animated GIF. And each of these graphic rendering blocks has an image in it. And if I hover over it, it shows the raw palette indexes for each pixel. And I'm working towards, when you click on that image data, it'll show you where it is in the original file. But I also wanted to open up like a details panel and actually show the image. So I had been working on a plugin that looks like this. It's like an image viewer. So you can like zoom in on it and you can hold shift and see a little magnifying glass. This kind of thing. So if imagine that kind of integrated back into this thing like there-ish, right? And the way these will be connected is through automation in Lua, because I like the idea of co-locating the description on how you parse something with what you should do when the user inspects a specific thing. So yeah, my parser is programmable because it has its own language to describe how to parse things. So At the very top here, this represents the overall animated GIF. So like, you see header, logical screen, data, and trailer. That's what you'll see over here. Header, logical screen, data, and trailer. And data, there's 21 entries in data because this is a loop. Everything in a loop is going to have like multiple instances of it. So I call that a vector context. So data is a vector. And it goes until we see that the trailer is next. This is like a special little syntax saying look ahead, unsigned integer named next 8 bits. If it's 3B hex, then breakout. And reason why we break out is the trailer is 3B. That's always the mark that you have. That is the end of the GIF file. That image got you? Yeah. It's the. Do I have a window open for that? I do not, but I'll open one. I've been, just as an example file, I've been playing around with, in my examples, Pog slide, which I just ripped off from Twitch. But it's a convenient one because it has animations in it that it's obvious, and it's small enough that the parser loads it pretty fast. But yeah, that's why you might recognize my sample image there. So yeah. So yeah, the idea of integrating them is that this is a detail view, and like its contents should come from the parser's output, and then kind of be run through some scripted automation so that I don't have to rebuild. I don't want to have to rebuild my tool whenever I want to have the UI do different things, like parse different things or react to user gestures differently. So the format description both tells the parser how to parse the thing, so I can change that without rebuilding my tool. And now the idea of like embedding scripts that are associated with individual nodes in the output, so that when you click on them, it'll run that script. That's what I've been working on. And yeah, it popped up out of nowhere. Yeah. If you look at a lot of the thumbnails from my streams, that Pepe pops up a lot because I've been using that sample GIF for like weeks now. So if you're curious on how the language for my parser is built, I use 2 crates, Lollipop and Logos, that I'll link to in the chat. And Lollipop is kind of like Bison and Yak. So if I show you the grammar file, there's a prelude where we pull in all of our dependencies, and then grammar marks that here are a bunch of grammar rules in the Lollipop language. And they're kind of like Bison or Yak. If you've ever studied compilers, if you ever want to make your own compiler, you'll probably do something like this. It's called a parser generator. What it does is it takes in input tokens and tries to match them against the rules of your language, which is called your grammar. And then when it matches stuff, it basically spits out whatever you want. So if it was a real compiler, you could spit out the assembly language or the machine language for whatever you're compiling to. If it's an interpreter, you would spit out like what the interpreter should do whenever it executes that line that it's interpreting. In my case, what I'm compiling is I'm compiling a format description like this into a bunch of data structures that I'll use as recipes on how to parse. So like this is a recipe that has like each of these is a statement to execute in order to parse a GIF, right? So the grammar will say like that's one format. That ID is GIF. And then we have optional arguments, which I have none. Then you have in braces, you have your statements, and that ends up collapsing into a format node with a certain name, arguments, and statements. And like an example statement would be parsing something. So you have an identifier. In this case, it's like header. And then you might have some expression list that's like arguments and stuff like that. And then like there's other things that all these ops are a naming convention I have where it's either nothing or it's something that's optional. So an optional identifier, an optional list of expressions, optional bounds. A bounds would be something like this :8. That's a bound saying like don't parse more than 8 bits, etc. Right? So that gets compiled into a parse statement structure. And then that's one kind of statement that gets rolled up into the statements that are associated with the format. So yeah, this matches all the input tokens from this file, and if it all matches all the rules, bundles it up into the very top level thing, which is a map from strings to formats. So these are the keys: GIF, header, version, etc. And the formats are the bodies of these, basically. So that's what the parser generator code looks like. And this is a Rust crate. What's emitted, matching any rule, is a bunch of Rust statements to run to assemble the output data type. Now the logos is what I use for the lexer, and that's what converts the original format file, which is a bunch of lines with characters on each line, right, rows and columns, turns that into the input token sequence. So that looks like this. There is a huge type I called it the output, or the output of the lexer, and it's an enumerator type. So these are all the different possible tokens that the lexer could spit out that go into the parser generator, right? And you'd have this on basically any kind of language. Logos lets you define how the lexer turns character input into token output through a bunch of macros. So you have some conveniences described up here, like subpatterns, and these are the things to skip. So we skip new lines, or we skip comments, and we skip white space. And we describe those as regular expressions. And then you can describe how to convert input to output by saying, well, here are some tokens. So if you see these literal words, that they just get turned into the corresponding token, right? So all your reserved words are like that. The more complicated things are like identifiers, where it's an alphanumeric, or it's an alpha, so it's a letter followed by 0 or more letters or numbers, alphanumeric. And those are referencing the subpatterns, right? Alphas A through Z, alphanumeric is A through Z, 0 through 9, right? And then we have even more complicated irregular expressions for floating point values and for different kinds of integers. And then string script is the one I was struggling with the other day, last week, because it has to like skip. We have to match the open delimiter and closing delimiter. And since curly brace means something in the regular expression language, we have to escape that with the backslash. And then the middle, we have to allow curly brace and greater than, as long as they don't come together. So that's what this complicated regular expression does. But yeah, that's the downside of logos for a lexer, is you have regular expressions. And as the saying goes, if you start with one problem and you try to solve it with regular expressions, the result is now you have two problems. And I sorted through my problem the other day. I got it working, but good and the bad, right? Good is that it's very succinctly describing how you get every output token from every possible input sequence. Downside is that you're using regular expressions, which can be horribly difficult to understand. They're nice for computers, but for humans, not so much. Lots of potential mistakes that I can make there. So yeah, put the lexer and the parser generator together and you have a compiler. So this builds recipes in memory, which my tool, basically from the very first to the very last bytes, it goes and it matches them all. So like, it says, well, this byte right here is the signature in the header, and then the next 3 bytes is the encoding of the version number. So that should match what I have here, signature and encoding for the version. So these like S's and UIs are the built-in parsing formats. If it's built in, you won't have a block like this. If it wasn't built in, if UI wasn't built in, I would have had to have this somewhere, but UI happens to be built in, so I don't specify it. Oops, I hit the wrong key again. Excuse me. So the built-ins are things like elemental types, bits, unsigned integers, floats, strings. Everything else is built off of that. And indeed, you can have flow control in my language, so you can have loops, breaks, ifs, else ifs, etc. Now I'm working on attaching Lua scripts to nodes so that when you click them here, that we can actually do something. With the idea again that I would want to click that, and if clicked, I'd want to pop up an image viewer for that image. And so like if we could like, you know, go from one image to the other, see how each one looks. And ultimately at the end, it would be kind of cool if I had if the script added a new menu option where I can say play, and would play the animated GIF, and maybe off to the side it would show info like what frame number we're on, or you could like hit pause, or you could single step and it would show where it actually is in the file, right? So that's one image, and then another, and then another, and then another, etc. The plural of regex is regrets. Exactly. You got it. So right now when I click on an image, it's just extracting the number of nodes in for the decoder output. So interesting side topic about how GIFs are encoded. It's using a formerly patented algorithm called LZW, and you decode and encode based off of a table, and the table is built by both the encoder and the decoder, and they have to be kept in sync. There are special instructions like clear code and end of information code, but in the middle, it's like one token gives you one or more output pixels. And they build by concatenating to existing table entries. So you start with 0 to 255, just map directly to entries in the color table. But every time you match something, you add another table entry. So by the time you get to 258, it knows, because the decoder and the encoder are kept in sync, that 258, the table entry of that will actually have 2 pixels in it. And then 259 is 3 pixels. And so it's naturally good at repetitive sequences. So like whole run lengths of pixels that repeat get encoded really compactly by GIF. But like more like natural images don't compress very well with GIF. Something like JPEG would do a much better job. So anyway, long story short, the number of nodes here that the image was built from happened to be 5,994, and so we clicked on the image. The test Lua that I have in there right now is just finding out, navigating down to that IO block and getting its length and printing it out. That's literally what this does right there. It takes the data, goes down 2 levels, just like you see in the UI here. It goes down 1, 2 levels, and then it gets the length and prints it out. And as everyone knows, in Lua, the pound sign means length of. Okay, so what I'm trying to get to is this. I have it commented out right now that we want to make an image viewer from the image and then put that in the detail pane. Anyway, again, thank you, Chris, for the raid. If you're still here, if not, I'll just thank you later, and I'll take it from the relative calmness and silence that I've either bored you guys to death or I have your rapt attention. Either way is fine. I'm just gonna keep doing my thing. So, right, I wanted to do something like this where we can find the descriptor from the data by doing data parent. Or maybe just reference a field called parent. And then I would go to like local width equals descriptor image width. And I need to make sure that these match the image, what's in the image descriptor. So it's this that we're looking for. So I have image width, image height, right? We're extracting that back out, and because I want to print them. Width and height. And so I'm going to replace nodes with image and print those things. So that would be width, I hit that key that I didn't mean to hit. There we go. Value. And there was something about, right, I had to do a to Lua right now. I wanted to fix that. The reason I have to do that right now is value is actually an enumerated type in Rust. And if I convert it to Lua, we're actually losing information. We're converting it to a native type. And that's fine, but right now it looks kind of gross. But that's what we have to do for now. Yeah, I really just want to print the width and height of the image, but this is the key thing that's not going to work right now. So if I try this right now and I click it, it's going to say, there is no such field, parent. Hello, person from Argentina. How are you? Clicking on that, we get that Lua is very interesting in that it doesn't say there is no such field. It always says attempt to index a nil value. So it's saying descriptor was nil, and you have to look and see, well, what was descriptor? Right. So really the error is that there is no such field parent in data, but Lua is very forgiving. If you look up a field in a user data or a table that doesn't exist in Lua, you don't get a syntax or a runtime error, you just get nil. And then so it's going to take that nil and assign it to the variable descriptor, and then when it tries to index nil, that's where the actual error occurs. Attempting to index it is an error, a runtime error in Lua. So, but really the problem is that parent doesn't exist. So here's the hard part is adding that. I suppose I will do this from the top down, so to speak. So literally what this parent will do is do a field lookup of data, which is under this data component, right? Right, so I think it's, yeah, under fields, we have value, but we don't have parent. Oh, and I keep hitting that key that I'm used to doing. That means something different in the VM. So yeah, parent. So what I want is to look up this dot 0 dot borrow dot, and this is the part that doesn't exist, parent. But let's say it did exist, it would be kind of like what the index does down here. Cloned map or nil. So that's what we're doing. The parent doesn't exist, so we need to make it exist. And that's what we're doing now. So go to data component. Okay, so we need to add parent to this. What does the node plus some class element API for web browsers do? Wait. Oh, what does the API for web browsers do? Yeah, I mean, that's a good strategy. Yeah, that's true, that there's legacy in it that would be misleading if I don't know what's deprecated. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that adding a weak reference here won't be a big deal, so I'm just going to do it. If this isn't the root of the composition, this can this weakly refers to the parent of the component. All right, so that's parent. I think it's called weak. This one, and it would be weak ref cell component. because shared component is an RC ref cell. Maybe I should just go ahead and make pub type for this. Weekly shared component. Cursor in the way. And then I can be a little bit more ergonomic down here and just say that. This is optional because there might not be one. Hey there, Ramy. Wowie, Mr. Sir. How are you? Wake up early, that's right. Sorry, Ramy. I know this is not EU, UK friendly time zone. Time zone? Time slot? Time to be streaming? Okay, so I need to clean this up right now. I just have a bunch of different kinds of constructors for component type. Really, I should just have a... Oh, I'm hitting that key again. I just have a bunch of different alternate constructors, so I'm going to have to go to each one of these. Looks like there's 4 of them, and add parent in there. All right. Okay, so now that it's there, this, I think instead of cloned, we do upcast or something like that, right? Or was it lock? What can you do with I need to do the map or nil thing first, right? I guess what it is instead of cloned, it's a map. What we want. Upgrade, that's what it is, right? Upgrade. And then it's and then, right? And then. Because it might not exist anymore. See, if you drop the top level of the composition and you had a pointer to an individual node, the parent might not exist anymore, and so the upgrade will return none. But if it doesn't, and you can recover a strong reference, then we're pushing it into Lua. It's EU friendly time if you wake up at 5:25. Ramy, 5:25 is so early for me. I'd go back to bed for at least 3 more hours. You're gonna have a serious discussion with some of your boards of director today as a rep. Wow, nice. That does sound like fun. How am I? I'm okay. Last 2 streams, like I didn't stream. Last 2 slots in my so-called schedule. The times when I set aside to stream, I didn't stream because I think I just needed a break. And I've only really come back to streaming for a few weeks now. It kind of tells me that maybe a little bit too aggressive with my schedule. So I'm like 4 time slots a week, about 3 hours each one. So that's adding up to like 12 hours. Maybe it's too many for me. Because I also have a full-time job. This isn't my job, like, you know, when you watch Adam streams, that is his job, so to speak. He can go 9 to 5 streaming, but I don't think I can and the whole job. What's this problem? Oh, I need to actually map the error, don't I? What's the type of this? So this is not fitting the right type. Shouldn't that just work? Result into Lua is not satisfied. Oh, it's because into Lua can fail, right? Yes. Well, then it's how is this working elsewhere? Just it's doing exactly what it's doing there. The part there. Shared reference. Oh, it's no, I'm looking at the wrong thing again. Well, that RC ref cell should be convertible. I guess what I'll do is do this in part. Let component or let parent equal much of it. See what the type of that is. Did it again. Okay, there is an error. So which one of these errors? Upgrade error out? No, it's an option. So it's the into Lua that's erroring. Well, oh, I see what I did. Down here I did not put an OK wrapper around it. So yeah, so then it's simple. I just get rid of the OK. Go. Except for this. Cannot move out of a dereference. Well, I thought upgrade gives you a new reference count. Not so why am I not moving out? Do I need to break this up? Let parent equal this. Well, actually, it's this. This equals this 0 borrow. I did it. I keep doing that. I keep hitting the key that I'm used to. I'm not. It's like muscle memory is taking over, and that's a ref. What's this? Oh, right. I need to do an as ref. As ref and then. And it's just going to tell me I can replace that with weak upgrade. Use RC weak. So then, yeah, I could probably put this back there. There we go. The address ref is important, saying we want a reference to the parent. We don't want to move out of the parent. The part of Rust that frustrates you? It's taking me a while to remember to do that. But here, I'll show you. It took me a while to figure this out, but it was because it's not obvious. Even looking at the types. But well, let's go back a little. Okay, now without the asref, right? It'll say cannot move out of something. So it's like you have to train you have to like get exposed to this many times to figure out to kind of connect the dots and say when you see an error like cannot move out, you probably are taking an owned value and then trying to map that owned value, which does a move out. So whenever you have an and then or a map and it leads to a cannot move out of, it's like, well, okay, that means I need to do an asref, because what asref does is it's kind of hard to see there. Maybe the comments are better. Yeah, see, it's not even really clear what that does, but essentially what the asref in this context is doing, it's saying that this option, I'm not going to take that option out. I just want to get a reference to it, and then with that reference, try to call upgrade on it to turn the weak reference into a real reference. It's even hard for me to exactly explain why I thought of asref, but yeah, asref in general is how you avoid moving something that you own. If it's what you use if you can't use the and sign, which is in many languages, including Rust, it just means I want to get a reference to something, a pointer to something, right? I'm not moving it. I'm not giving ownership. I'm just getting a pointer to it. I'm getting a reference to it. But in this context of I'm about to take something, and then basically it's chained. It's a chain of method calls that's transforming the value from one type to another, right? I don't want to transform or move out of this parent. I want to get a reference to it and then transform the reference. Is what I should really say. And when I figure out how to say that very short and succinctly in a way that anyone can understand, I will make a YouTube video about it. But since I still struggle to explain it, I'm not ready. Okay, so if this works, then this should work now, as long as I rebuild it. So it should be able to get me the width and height of the image I clicked on now, if I did everything right. And I need to click. Okay. Sim to index a nil value, so it's still returning nil. Oh, it's not a field method, it's just a field. Right? Oh, I can't just do add field. Right, because it actually has to be, it has to actually be a method, because we're having to do logic. Like basically we're doing the okay, so then I need to rewrite the script. This has to actually be a method call. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't have to do that for value. What's different between value and parent? Oh, I know why. I think this is working, but it's we're never actually assigning it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So this we should be able to do. This should work. It's just that I'm never setting that. So the way to set that would be whenever we're stored in the composition, right? That's like in add part. Right here. The wrong file. I don't want to be in root. Don't search root. Okay, right here. Add a part. And so context should hold the parent. That's one of these. Component. So the context component is the parent, and we're adding something to it. I think we just want to immediately store weak reference to the parent. So that would be part dot borrow mute dot parent equals self dot component dot weak. It's like RC weak or something, right? Or can I just directly assign? Well, I did it again. If I knew consciously what I was hitting there, then I would train myself not to do it. I was hoping the compiler would tell me what I'm supposed to do here. Oh, it's one problem is that I need to do a sum around it. Okay, I think it's. I thought there would be a weak method of an RC, but there isn't. So is it just RC week? Week count. Or is it week new? So it's a type week and then wait for that and do use and then colon new? Not new, it's something that takes an RC. Downgrade? There's the upgrade, but where's the downgrade? Where's it RC downgrade? Downgrade, there we go. I did it. Expected a reference. Yes, please downgrade that reference for me. Okay, that's what I wanted. It took me a while to get there. Another thing, Lithium, is, at least for me, my experience has been I have not really learned all of Rust. I am very dependent on the editor plugins like Rust Analyzer to help me get the syntax right and help me look up method names. And I don't know if that's good or bad. If you threw me into an editor with no plugins, it would be very hard for me to write something that would pass all the syntax checks. But then again, maybe that means I'm prioritizing the learnings that actually matter. Okay, so we got down to image width is the nil value. So we're getting there. Does it say app 380? Oh, okay. That's because that's where we actually execute the script. So back to the script. This that it couldn't find width, right? Attempting to index a nil value field image width. In the it's not the parent. The parent's image descriptor. That's the descriptor. This kind of code is that which documents itself. I agree. Hey, look at that. Got the image with that. If I click a different one, this is where it's kind of frustrating because this one, they're all the same size. So I really need to find a GIF where the different frames are different sizes. But this is great. So we're getting further. So that means I can reach up to I can reach up into the image descriptor and get it. So for the color table, I think I want to do this differently. I think I wanted to actually come in here, and this would actually modify and replace it. But I want to double check with this spec. If we do have a local color table, does that replace the replace the global one, or is it just used for this one and then we revert to the global one? That's where I'm not quite sure. Okay, it looks like this is what I need to read here. Local color table is always associated with the graphic that immediately follows it. The scope of the local color is limited to that single graphic. Local color table supersedes a global color table. That is, if a data stream contains a global color table and an image has a local, decoder must save the global table, use the local color table, and then restore the global color table. Okay. So that means like when whatever I pass to the image, it's just going to be either the global or the local. And we don't replace the global with the local. So the global color table, there's only one of it, right? There's only one of it because there's only one logical screen descriptor. that's reinforcing what I just read about before. So they say stream, but in the stream in the context of the spec means a GIF file. So if you have like two GIF files, one after the other, you could use the global color table in the first one, in the second one too, without having it duplicated. Okay, so I think we're good to go. So I think what I want to do then is just we'll bring in the GCT, the global color table, and I guess we'll just do it in the script. We'll just say if local color table exists, then we use that. Otherwise, we use the GCT. So I need to make sure the GCT makes its way down here. So that's E, and I just thought of one issue, is that the script won't have access to the GCT unless it is kept. It would be nice to be able to keep it around for scripts, but not have it show up over here. So like, for example, right now in this graphic rendering block, we have the descriptor and the data, and if I add GCT here and did not keep it, then we would not be able to use it here. But if I did keep it, it's going to show up here as a third node under graphic rendering block, and I don't know if I want to see that here. So I could either deal with that showing up here even though I don't want it to, or I could actually just have it climb the ancestry of the image data, go up and then up again and up until it gets to the root, and then go down to logical screen global color table. So just make the Lua walk it completely and not have it in the format. Or a third option would be somehow semi keep the GCT around so that it's just available for scripting, but not a node anymore. I don't like that. I think what I'm going to do is just have it walk this data structure. So let's do local GCT. While there are while loops in Lua, right? I don't remember, so I'm gonna look it up. Dev docs, Lua, while. Language. There's no while loop in Lua. It's just the for loop. Oh no, the control structure. While expression do block end. Okay, got it. So while parent dot parent is not equals weird in Lua too, right? Operators, arithmetic, not arithmetic. Like not bitwise, logical. tilde equals inequality. Tilde equal nil. Do end. Parent equals parent parent. So that goes to the root. Actually, I just want to call that root. Okay, and then once we find the root, GCT is root logical green global color table, right? And let's just print something out about it. GCT size. The colors, right? Okay, let's see if that works. GCT unfound. Oh, I modified this, right? Yeah, that's my bad. All right, so clicking on an image. Attempt to get a length of a nil value for field colors. Oh, it's color, not colors. Color. There we go, 256. Okay, so we have found the global color table. So then really it's just, we need to tell if there's the logical color table or not, right? So I guess it's LCT. Local color table is data.parent local color table, right? And so well, why don't we just say colors? Color table. And then we'll just say if color, well, this whole thing is an if color table is nil, then we do all this stuff, right? I don't need this local. This becomes color table. End. And this becomes color table. Number of colors. So we should probably, let's do a host info. No local color table. Using global table. All right. We got it right. Syntax error. Then expected near hosts. So, oh. Rid of that. Number of colors 256. No local color table using global color table. So I'll have to try to drum up an example with a local color table to test that. Oh, we did have one. It was the Homer one. But the problem with Homer is it takes a long time to parse. Try it anyway. Open data. I think I'd put it under stage. Homer. So Homer takes a long time to load. It's going to get stuck there loading Homer for a few minutes. Yep. So my UI is unresponsive because it's single threaded. I need to fix that. But that's a longer term effort because I need to make my types shareable between threads. Okay, so with this, that one doesn't have a global table, so that would say using. But I think these ones do. Yes. So this one has. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay. So Homer's not a good example. All right, then I'm back to not knowing, not having an example which uses the local color table. I guess I can just go through all the ones I have. Let's see, does Bunny have one? Forget like how big these are. It loaded. I don't know. Yeah, I'll just have to find one later. Because I don't think this one, if I just go to a random rendering block, yeah, it doesn't have a local color table. Oh well. Go back to examples, Pog slide. Okay, well, yeah, we'll test that later when I do find one. Anyway, we have the color table. We have the image. So I should be able to make an image viewer from that, right? It needed... Okay, the colors need to be processed. So I'm just going to copy that over to here-ish. And, yeah. Actually, I don't need to do that complicated way of getting the size, do I? I can just do size of color. Well, this is the colors. Local. Thing is, that's the input table and that's the output table. So how do I do this? So this is like colors in. Yeah. So GCT color gets replaced by colors in. Okay. Make sure that that builds. Didn't crash. All right, then what else do I need? We have the width and the height, and we have the pixels. Oh, I do need to do that. So it would be like this. So this is data. Well, then that's just data. Data value to Lua gives me the actual pixels. This is the array of, well, it's self-evident, right? Get the pixels, we get the, why don't we just print something about it? Number of pixels. right? 12,544. That should be 112 by 112. Okay. I think that's all I need. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this. Copy straight from there. So here we go. I do need to remember to, if you don't do a local, it makes it global, and so you end up leaking references. So I don't want to do that. So I make sure I always do locals. Local pixels, local everything else, local root, colors in. This should be local colors. Local label for pixel. Okay. I don't have image width. That's width. And I did use image height. Okay, so grabbing that too. Okay, and then instead of DD image viewer, it's going to be host image viewer. So we have the colors, we have the pixels, right? Yep, and then the image width, image height, label for pixel. Okay, that's local that. So this is gonna say that it can't find image viewer. So we need to do that next. Yep. All right. So now we're finally pulling the image viewer into the I guess we pull it into through the bridge. Already have it in the bridge? If I already have it there, that'd be great. Image viewer? Yeah. References. Okay, so it's just something we can use. Host image viewer. So I should be able to do that straight from the Lua host, right here somewhere-ish. Methods? Why why write it when I can just copy it? Because the plugin does the same thing, right? We want to exclude. How do you exclude again? Comma? Exclude target folders. Okay. There. Oh, that's a Lua function. Okay. Hmm. Can I then just do create function? Can I just do that and attach that as a value? I think I can, right? So if I just take that and attach it to fields. Where's add fields? There's add fields. I don't need to register. Okay, so then fields dot add field. What's function get? Field function get? Regular field getter as a function which accepts a generic. Field getter. I don't think I want that, right? Just want a normal field, right? Name, image viewer, value, paste. Where's my Lua? Maybe I do want it to be a method. No, I want to create a function and attach it. Problem is that this I need Lua to do that, right? It's not gonna let me do this. Can I? Is there an alternate to this? Fields dot. Maybe it is this. I need to understand what this means. What does this mean? Add a regular field getter as a function which accepts a generic any user data of type T. I don't know what that means. Hold on. So the user data fields is a user data registry? Huh. If I could get the Lua interpreter out of this, that would be great. What's a meta field? Meta table field. Oh, that's like on the class itself. So that's not what I want, right? Yeah, it's just that how do I get access? I don't have access to the Lua interpreter when this is called. If it's a method, I do, but then I'd have to call it like a method which has a this. Let me just look it up here in the lookup thingy. With mlua, how do you attach a function to the to a user data table? Roblox. I thought I meant Lua, not mlua. This is with the mlua rust crate. More context. Right, it wants me to add it as a method. Can I, if I just want the function to be a field, not a method, how do I create the function? From inside my add fields. Okay, so define your struct. Wait, you can add a function as a field? Yeah, but if I wanted to, okay. I'm trying to reuse the create function. I guess what it's telling me is I can't, can I use the Lua create function to make the function? And I misspelled function, it'll figure it out. Okay, so I'd have to create it up front. What? It's registering in a roundabout way. Okay, so if I already had a function, I could attach it, but I'd have to get it in. So I don't have any context to fit it in here unless I put it in this directly, which I don't want to do. I'm just gonna give up and call it a method. So if it's a method, then going back to here, I am calling it like a method. So it's just that I don't actually use the this for the host at all, do I? Yeah, that's okay. I kind of already was doing that with these other methods, right? These already were not using the this. Okay, so yeah. And I'm just gonna end up duplicating the code, aren't I? So I just copy from plugin. I already closed it. This one. This is essentially what I want, only as a method. So I'm just gonna copy that, go over here and paste it. So it's image im goes here. Methods add method. Viewer. The method. I think we need Lua, right? We don't need this. Don't know what that is yet. Paste that junk there, and we're gonna fit this in. All right, fitting this in. So here's my arguments. And here I get to name them, right? Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Hit save. Okay. Right, so this is what I just need to import. Okay, it has no idea where to get that type. I understand that it does not know how to get that type. That okay, so we're not using the bridge at all then. If I could reuse this, I would, but I cannot. So I'm not going to worry about it. I am going to do what the bridge does. So the bridge pulls in the image viewer as a dependency. So I'm just going to do the same thing from the GUI. Do that. Now, back in host, should be able to import image viewer as image viewer. Cool. And that is an image viewer, and it doesn't know how to convert it. Right, because that's in the bridge. That's this widget host. Oh, right. I need to say what it returns. Wow. Okay. So I need to say that it returns what? Widget host. So that's Lua. Okay, I already have Lua error. I don't have Lua result though. Okay. Widget host just needs to be imported from the bridge. So the bridge will provide that adapter to get it from an image viewer to a widget host. As that is implemented here, as long as we implement widget, which image viewer does, it can be held by reference. Okay. Oh my goodness. I have 3 errors though. Missing structure parent. Oh, in the tests. I didn't notice that. Unused import weak. We can get rid of it. You are weak. You lack discipline. Okay, cool. All right. Build it. So now it's actually going to assemble the widget. It just has no way to attach it back to the main UI. That's the last piece of the puzzle. I'm gonna make sure it doesn't break down. Click that. It didn't break down, so it made the widget. It's just not doing anything with it. Okay, to actually do something with it, the idea was in the script again that we'd have a show detail. So we're finally gonna do something there. So host show detail, and then it's gonna be image viewer. Okay. So I need a show detail method. Methods. Method mute, because we will need to. Oh, actually, it doesn't need to be mute, right? Just add method. I already forgot what I called it. Show detail. This, and then widget. This dot show detail widget. Okay, so function show detail. Oh, make this work, I got to do I need to recover that, right? So, what was that again? Oh, it just needs to be recoverable from Lua. So I can do that if I call this a widget host. Cool. So that gives me a widget host, which so it has the reference count in it. So then I just, how do I get it out of there? I just do deref. Okay. So then can I just turn that in to RC Well, hold on. It's probably good to just keep it like, keep that the type that we use. So then here's where I'm finally going to use that sender. So I want to make a new message that we can send. Let's do it now. So the message would be like show detail. And then here's where we put in that widget host. Here's the big check. Is it sendable? It is not debuggable, but we can fix that. Implement debug? No. Well, we'll have to implement debug ourselves. Hey there. How I say your name? Fax Condi Boost? Tell me a bit about myself and what I do in a short way. I'm doing hobby projects in Rust, and I tend to work on big projects. So like the last one I did was I built this keyboard and wrote the firmware in Rust. Did that all mostly on stream, both the hardware and the firmware design. And this project is a programmable parser. So hold on, it's not going to build, is it? Can I just say target dot release dot GUI? Yes, I can. So this is a tool that I'm building that you can describe how to parse something by describing its format in a special language I came up with, and then you throw a random file in here and you can get information out based off of what's in the file. And so it's kind of like Wireshark, only for just any kind of data. Could be from a file, network port, you name it. And the format description is in a custom language. It kind of looks like this from the very top level. So that matches this top level structure: header, trailer, data in the middle. Header, trailer, data in the middle. So this is the format description for animated GIFs, right? I also have it for JSON and a couple other formats. So overall, the project is a a program that shows a window on the screen. Also, I hope to eventually make this run in the browser. It's basically a user interface where it shows a file in a hex dump, and also runs it through a parser and shows you the output of that. And basically, the idea is to have tools here where, say, oh, I see a byte that I'm interested in, like that S there. Well, that's the red part of the or the 9th color in the global color table, right? If I click way down here, well, that's part of the 22nd sub block of the 12th data block. Hey there, Dev with Ricardo. You know how a Windows setter knows the name of a USB device? Where in the code do you set that? The name of the USB device. I think it depends. There's something called like the device descriptor. USB device descriptor. I know this because I had to like fill out one for my keyboard, and I had to put rusty keyboard in there. So I think it's in the USB device descriptor. It's in here somewhere. Yeah. Well, if it's a registered product, it'll get that from the web, but I think you can attach strings to the descriptor so you can have custom name in there somewhere. I just don't remember exactly where. The string descriptor. Yeah, so there's like a way you can attach a string descriptor, and it like leads in, it hooks into the device descriptor some way. I don't remember how that's done. Is it this USB string descriptor? Yeah, the device descriptor may contain references to string descriptors, and like that's how you end up putting it in. Like, so for my keyboard, I have the string rusty keyboard somewhere in the descriptor, so that when I attach it to a new computer, it actually knows that it's the rusty keyboard. And it's not Windows specific, really. It's the USB spec is OS independent. So you'll find in Linux and in Mac also similar structures for USB descriptors. I am not primarily a hardware dev, but I do dabble. So I knew enough about hardware to do this. So I did 3D printed the case, and I designed the circuit board using. I actually learned how to do the PCB design and routing and all that by watching some YouTube videos. So I'm definitely a newbie on hardware. Keyboards are really simple things when you get down to it. It's just a circuit board that you attach some keycaps or key, what do they call it? Key switches with keycaps on them, and that's basically it. Or maybe some basic components like diodes and LEDs, but that's about it. So that's as much hardware as I know how to do. So like people suggested after I made the keyboard, why don't you make a mouse next? Well, the core of a modern mouse these days is a little image sensor, which is incredibly complex. So I could use an off-the-shelf image sensor, but that's sort of like cheating. Basically, the rest of the mouse is just packaging for that sensor and getting it the output of the sensor back to the host, right? So since it's all really, most of the mouse's functions these days are in that image sensor, which is incredibly complex. I'm like, well, it's sort of a boring project because either it's going to be too hard or it's going to be too easy. Interested in how GoDaddy, how they make it possible to buy a domain? You should look at how the domain name, how domain structures are defined. So ultimately, there are domain authorities that are either owned by governments or companies, and companies like GoDaddy and others will deal with them for you, either because the authority only deals with a certain set of companies like GoDaddy, or GoDaddy is like a convenient agent to work on your behalf. And you could go straight to the authority, but it's maybe easier to go through an agent like that. But fundamentally, it all comes down to who are the authorities for the domains and how it's networked together. And there's like protocols. There you go. Dev with Ricardo gave you a good link. Go that, and basically you need to understand how internet domains are structured, like technically, and also how the authorities how the authority over them is distributed by country and I think they're all countries at this point, right? Except for like the top level ones like .com and .net, and I don't exactly know how. Basically, there's an authority infrastructure, and then there's the technical infrastructure, and how they meld together. All right, back to this. So, I know where I was. I was looking to see. Right, it doesn't implement debug. I need it to implement debug, so we're just going to implement debug for widget host. And we'll just have a really stupid implementation. Use standard FMT debug. It didn't know which debug to pull in. All right. I think we just want to do write to F widget. Just something stupidly simple like that. Can't just do that. I can't put. Oh, that's right. You have to do like double. You have to double the braces. If you actually want the literal braces. Okay, so that should have fixed this error. Last change here. Okay, what's the error then? Non-exhaustive patterns. Okay, cool. So we can get the message over to the app. We just don't have code to handle it. So let's add code to handle it. Widget host. So for now, I'm just going to have it print something. So like info show detail hot. And let me fix the warnings that we got. So I do construct it. Why does it say I'm not constructing? Oh, because I'm not. We are definitely not. It's right here that I should be doing it, right? Yeah, that's the whole point. It was I was going to do self sender send message show detail widget, and we're going to drop the send returns like an error. If it couldn't send something, we're just going to ignore it. The alternative, I guess, would be to expect. Maybe that's better. Should receiver should still exist. Or because send returns an error if you where does it say that? It should have an error section. Unsuccessful send would be the receiver has already been deallocated. So that shouldn't happen. All right, so now we're down to one warning, and that is that we did not use the widget. I guess I'm calling it widget, right? We're not using it yet. Okay, cool. So this should build again now. And it won't plug it in yet, but it will show me that it could carry over to the app, and we should see it in an info message. .com is one of the most complicated top-level domains. There's probably a special site about who's the authority over. You can just search for yourself, like how come DuckDuckGo is taking so long? Who is the authority over the .com TLD? Sure. AI, tell me the answer. The Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers delegates its management to VeriSign. So there you go. VeriSign owns .com. Yep. VeriSign's the administrator. So this is another illustration of what I was saying before. It depends on the domain. Like they're either owned by a country or a company or some organ. Like .org is owned by the Public Interest Registry. Any person's permitted to register. Looks like VeriSign administrates the .net and .com. I guess they also administrate EDU through VeriSign owns EduCause, I guess, a nonprofit. The U.S. government owns Gov, and U.S. Department of Defense owns .mil, and then when you get to the country ones, like China owns .cn, France owns .fr. Interesting. They have like different subdomains, I guess. Huh. Oh, I didn't know that. I guess there are top level domains that are in non ASCII strings. That's cool. Yeah, you have to refer to who's the authority over it and all that stuff. They made it very complicated, those weird TLDs. Well, they're weird as in non-ASCII, right? So it makes more sense if you know those character sets. Like if you're Japanese and you're fluent in Japanese and you're comfortable with Japanese characters, it probably doesn't seem weird at all to you. It seems probably the weird thing is that what you see as a normal top level domain in Japanese characters needs to be translated into something else for those weird Americans. You know? Okay, cool. So the app got the show detail, right? So then the last thing is when we catch it, we should show it in the window hierarchy. So that's where it's going to get real interesting because I think I'm going to follow what I have here and make this into a handle. So self.handle show detail. Give it the widget. We just need to define this. So let's go where this is. I guess it would go here, right? We will mutate self because we have to actually hold on to that reference. So widget host. Okay, and then here's where we got to do something with it. So this is in the app, right? I think that I just want to hand it off to the info overlay. So I'm going to go to info overlay and I'm going to put it here. So I'm going to put it as the detail. Detail is an option widget host. Okay, and then we need to import that and initialize it. And let's add a set detail function. Set right after set data, I guess. Bub function set detail. Guess it should be an option, right? Actually, I should have made it an option in the message too, because you might want the Lua script to add a to clear the detail, right? So this is just self detail equals detail. That's easy. That's the easy part. The hard part is actually doing something with it. So yeah, let's fix the message thing. So let's make that an optional widget host. Then down here, this will be option widget host, and it's basically just going to say self info overlay set detail widget. Okay, and then back where we threw it. So this has to be so this would be option. I think this works with Lua as when you pass nil, it's none, and if you pass a widget host, it's some. So I think that should just work. Yeah. Let's, I think, make sure this is going to print the right thing. Oh, I removed that. Yeah, let's print it here. So info detail. Okay. So now I should get all the way to the info overlay, and really I'm just putting that info in there because I want to make sure that we can actually set things to nil or not. So let's just do it once where we're setting it. So we're at some widget host. Great. So let me change it now so that we set it to nil instead. I need to update the grammar for the grammar plugin for VS Code for my format so that it understands that this is a Lua context. Yeah, if I do nil there, now when I click on an image data, it should say none. Great. Cool. So it's gonna be some. Okay, so then the final step is we actually, if we have one, we need to, I think what we're gonna do is in this area, we're gonna have in this panel, we'll have the data tree, and then if there is a detail, we'll put it underneath, and we'll have it kind of like I have the log. So like can't show it now, but like a vertical version of this horizontal drag thing. It's been a while since I've done this, so this might take me a little bit. It'll be where we draw, right? Draw. There's a central panel, and then we show the content in there, and then we handle the dialogues. Okay, and then we have the top menu bar, and then if we show a log, then we split it between top and central panels. But either way, we're gonna have data views, right? Because we have either data views there or there. So data views, there's the hex on the left, and then the central panel shows inside. Okay, so here's where I kind of need to split this, right? So it's going to be like if self dot detail if let some detail equals self detail as ref, else that. Okay, and then right now I'll start with just duplicating this. Right, and then let's see, call hierarchy and then content. Yeah, so I want to split it in a similar way. Have a top central panel inside here. So that goes there. So top, this would be like data top. I need to have a unique ID, right? So there might be a data. So now there's a data top, and then default height. I don't know what that number. I hate magic numbers, but yeah, the inside the top panel will be this guy. Data tree draw. And then in the central panel, which becomes the bottom, there's where we're going to show the detail. So I think I just do detail raw UI. And then okay, I need to capture this, so I need to let data tree response equal this. And I think this needs to be inner. No? So this one returns a data tree response. How do I get the one on? I guess I have to. I need to get it out of this show inside. I need to get the inner out of that, right? Okay, so then that's dot inner. It's saying that it's unit, but it's not unit. Oh, it is if I do that. There, fixed it. Okay, cool. See if it works. This works. It'd be great because I need to wind down soon anyway. So click on an image. It's there. It's just very small. Oh, it's there. Look, I got it. So if I go to the second one, okay, that's annoying. So I should get rid of the either get rid of the log or make that bigger to begin with. So there we go. Now I can go back and forth between the two images. How sweet that is. Cool. So I'd also like to do it by clicking the rendering block. I'd like to do that too, but right now it doesn't do that. Cool. So let me get rid of the log stuff so that I won't need to take up that area. But I like that. Look at that. That's just cool. It just kind of fits right in there. Let's get rid of the info. So I had like one in the detail, right? Let's get rid of that one first, because I need to rebuild for that one. That was in select or set detail, right? Detail. Yeah, this one. And then the others were all in the GIF format. These host infos, right? Yeah, so I'm getting rid of, whoop. Getting rid of the host infos. Or maybe I should just leave them in but comment them out. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna leave them in there but comment them out. Okay, I do have I don't need that anymore. But I want to see this working first. Okay. Well, look at that. The only downside is if I have to tunnel into and find the image datas. There we go. I can look at any of these. So then if I want to be able to click on the rendering blocks too, see the same image, I think what I want to do there is take the main body of this and put it in the actual script file. So how do I do that? I guess I'll just take this and yoink it out and then go over to gif.lua. .lua go. Too many files open. Let's close others. There we go. And then, so I'm just going to make a function here. So function image data. Data. Okay, and then we have that. Host is global, so I don't need to pass it in, right? So then this is just image data, right? So now when I click one of these, still works, right? All right, so then I can collapse this to just dot, right? I think that's working, although it's hard to tell unless I click a different one. Yeah, it still works. Okay, so then just to make sure that I'm not going crazy, I should be able to still do a host info here and see that, right? Just sanity check. Once in a while, you got to do a sanity check, because when everything just works and isn't failing, then you got to question, hey, is this really being changed? Okay, it is being changed. So yeah, anyway, I can completely fold this up into this, right? Cool. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a similar script to graphic rendering block. Like this. And I'm just going to do graphic rendering block. And now, if I click the graphic rendering block, actually it says semi oh right, semi is replaced by the script. So now when I click on the graphic rendering block, it's going to break because it's going to say there is no function called graphic rendering block. So that's because I was planning to make a function all along and I just didn't do it yet. So let's do that. So I should be able to collapse that and do function grb. And so this is just image data, grb image data, right? Yep. So basically I'm reusing the other function by, like, depending on where you click, you're either clicking directly on the image or you're clicking on the rendering block containing it. So now I don't even need to click into the images. I can just click on the rendering blocks. Look at that. So now I can see it animate just by simply going down the datas. Look at that. Ooh. What the heck was that? Call loop log received an event non-existent source token. What the heck is that? Oh. How am I getting this call loop thing? I don't have anything called call loop, do I? I do. Who uses it though? Wayland? Wayland! So what does that mean? I have some kind of glitch? Wayland glitch? Weird. Okay, well, I guess I won't worry too much about that. Clear that. Anyway, that's super cool. I can look through the images of a GIF. Okay, so I should be able to open up Danger Dance. There we go. I got Danger Dance. I completely ripped that off from Twitch. I saw that GIF. I'm like, I must have that GIF. It's too fun. Okay, and then what other GIFs do I have here? I had more in the stage. Right. So, there's this one. But this one's not displaying correctly because I'm not handling overdraw correctly. So what it's supposed to do is overdraw the smiley on top of Hello Raimu, right? But it's not because this is drawn without the context of the previous image. So like to do this properly, we're supposed to like render all the images from the top down to the one we care about, and then like also like don't overwrite transparent pixels. So if like you're drawing a transparent pixel, it should not replace what's already there. So that's something I'm not doing yet. Let me try small Tim. Rendering. I don't know what that's supposed to look like. That's one of those test images I was given. Oh, there's the 9x2. I think that just had a single image in it. Oh no, it doesn't. It has. Oh, interesting. That's cool. So this one's a different size. Oh, it's got a left position and it's got a width and height of 1x2. Huh. Interesting. Oh, there's some kind of test in there. Warning is distracting. So I think TS Just made this for me, right? Should ask him like what these images are for. Some kind of test image. Is this testing the local color table? Nope. No local color table. Well, okay. Then there's also a 1x1. That was a extreme. Yeah, that's just a single pixel. Just to test that that actually works. This is probably the smallest GIF you can have, by the way. It's a color table with two colors in it. I think it's black, and then I think this is the supposed to be the transparent color. Interesting. When I resized that, the other one shrank to nothing. Probably try to fix that, right? It shouldn't shrink to nothing like. Yeah, see that background color index is 0? That means that this is really not supposed to be 544. It's like transparent. So that this is a single 1x1 black pixel. Actually, it's a transparent pixel because the output of the stream is 0. Interesting. Oh, what's lull? This is a big one? Maybe I shouldn't have opened it. The big one, I guess. You guys hear that? Oh, see, what do we have? Lull. Like Pog Slide, only it's lull. I wonder why it has so many. Like, this is redundant, right? Oh, I did that again. This one's unnecessarily long, right? Like, if that's the first frame, you really only needed to animate down to this one, right? Then this is just the same thing again. Wonder why it like has so many extra animation frames. Anyway, super cool. I like it. I don't dare open up these super huge ones that I have here. I forget which one Bunny was though. See. Oh, this is a test one that right. This is the test one that TS Joss made me, I think. Interesting, because it's got its size changes over time. I need to remember this. This is a good example that changes in size between frames. Okay. Couple of things I need to clean up. Like when we open a new data file, it doesn't clear the detail. So if I go back to Pog Slide, right? It's still showing me the old image from the last file we loaded. It's not until I actually click there that it opens that one. Also, clicking on anything else, it's still keeping there's no way to really get rid of the detail window. I'd like to add like a close or an X, just like I have for the log file. Yeah. So there's some loose ends, but overall, I'm really happy about how the work today went. It fixed that one error warning I have, and I guess we're gonna call it a day. So let me close. Oh, this is still up from before. Send out of the virtual machine, please. I should, under hosted, run my tests, make sure that nothing broke from that. Cool. All 680 tests passed. All right. Leave this up while I figure out what I'm doing next. Whoa, Togglebit's making a Twitch bot. I think we're gonna have to raid him. All right, we're gonna go raid Togglebit while I wind down and get ready for bed and all that good stuff. I hope you enjoy his stream, and I hope you enjoyed watching mine. I'll be back in a couple days, hopefully. So, yep, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!